Hello, good people. I am the Last Airblender, and welcome to Will It Blend, a new segment I'm doing on this channel where we generate a random noun from a random noun generator and see if we can create it in Blender 3D. And yes, we will generate a noun, see what we get, see if we can blend it in under 10 minutes. And as you see, we do get South Africa, which, if you didn't know, is a country at the bottom tip of Africa. And yes, I am looking up South Africa to see how I will blend it, how I will create it. And yes, I do decide on creating the actual shape of the country. And yes, that is what South Africa looks like. And yeah, South Africa is sort of interesting because it is one of the only countries in the world that has a country inside of it, and that is Lesotho. Little Lesotho. Yeah, we do have 10 minutes to create this, and it is starting now. Alright. And yeah, I did record this last night, and I'm narrating it now because I was sick last night. And, I mean, I'm still sick now, but I'm at least able to record the video. And yeah, hopefully we'll hop into Blender soon. Oh yeah, I do go into GIMP and create the outline first of the country, because I plan to use a modifier to easily create the shape of the country in Blender. Yeah. I could have created like an image or a scene in Blender that represented the country, but I do not know very much about South Africa, and yeah, creating a country in Blender is a strange concept, as you probably can tell. And yeah, I'm using my expert tracing skills to hand trace the country. I sort of limited myself to not using or copying any images and using it that way to create the outline just using the image. I'm hand tracing it because, yeah. And it's not going to be 100% perfect, but I mean, I think it's a pretty good representation of South Africa, if I do say so myself. And yeah. The final model will not have any color or texture or anything. I was thinking about that for the segment Will It Blend, and maybe in later installments I'll include texturing and all that stuff, but it was difficult for me to even accomplish this without textures in under 10 minutes, because I wasn't really rushing. I did take my time with this to create South Africa. Can we just talk for a moment about how ridiculous of a word I did get? It's pretty bad. Of all the things I could have got, I got South Africa. I could have got something easy like table or chair. Well, at least I didn't get something like the sky or taxes that I couldn't even actually physically create. If I got something like that, I'd probably just reroll, but I mean, it would be pretty easy to create the sky in Blender, wouldn't you say? Wouldn't have to do very much at all. And yes, this is the point when I did realize that the country was too fat. And we do not want to make South Africa too fat, offend its people. It's still not the perfect shape, but like I said, it's good enough. And yeah, South Africa. I guess I could have done the flag too. Not colored and textured, just did the geometry of the flag, but I thought it'd be more interesting to create the actual country, the shape of the borders and everything. I really like actually creating countries. Like, I've done fictional countries before for projects of mine, and I think I'm pretty good at making the outlines and borders of fictional countries, but I've never actually traced an existing country, and I surely have not created an existing country in Blender. So yes, this is a new experience for me, but that's what we're looking for with Will It Blend. We're looking for new experiences and new ways to challenge myself. And this is a particularly strange one, because we are creating South Africa. And what I'm doing right now is I'm creating a displacement map. And what that means is when we do hop into Blender and we apply what is called a displacement modifier, which I'm doing right now. I'm getting out a plane, and that's going to be our base for our displacement modifier. And yeah, I'm trying to debate in my head how big to make it. I'm not even worrying about all the time I'm wasting. Maybe if I kind of hurried up with the modeling part, I could have actually done something a little fancier with the rendering part, but yeah. We are subdividing the plane, and that is just to give the final model more resolution. The more subdivisions you make, the higher quality the displacement will be, and we're using a displacement modifier to create the geometry of the country. And what that just means is we're using the displacement texture I just made in GIMP to sort of use the modifier to tell the Blender engine the shape of the country of South Africa. Yeah. And I am pretty happy with that already, but the jagged edges do not do the country very much justice. So maybe I'll work on fixing that. Just maybe. Yeah, I'm just screwing around with the modifier right now, trying to get the get it how I want it. And yeah, I did apply the modifier, and that pretty much set the geometry in stone. But no, I am not happy with that little base we have there, the plane at the bottom, because in reality, the country does not have a little plate under it. I mean, I guess if we're talking about realism, the country probably wouldn't be cut out and separated from the entire landmass of Africa, but I just thought the finished product would look a little better if it didn't have that plane under it, and I was right. I love it when I'm right. Anyway, it seems that I'm trying to find a modifier to help smooth in the surface to make it look more natural. I believe I end up using the remesh modifier and set it to smooth shading mode. And to my surprise, it does look pretty nice. trying to figure out the resolution I want it, because in my head I was thinking the higher resolution it is, the stranger it will look, because the geometry is already pretty choppy under the modifier. So I do settle on a octadegree of 7, and yeah, I'm sort of panicking because I realize that I'm almost out of time, and that is the point in which I start setting my decisions in stone and start rendering the finished product using cycles. And yeah, I only have 10 seconds left to make any changes I want. And I am pretty much done at this point, but I have started rendering it out in cycles to create the finished product. So yeah. For the first installment of Will It Blend, we did get a very strange subject to create. A country, for that matter. If you told me I was going to be creating a country in from my random noun generator, I don't know if I'd believe you. I thought I'd get something either pretty mundane, like a chair, or something really weird, like the sky. How would I even create the sky? I'm not sure. And yes, I'm rendering it out. I'm actually pretty happy with how South Africa turned out. And I'm just adjusting some things. It's a pretty high poly mesh. And you can see the hole inside it is where Lesotho should be. It kind of looks like Lesotho was cut out with a knife, because apparently they didn't want it inside South Africa, which is pretty rude if you ask me. But yeah. I am about to check up with Google to see if my representation of South Africa matches up with the actual South Africa from the image. I guess we'll find out in a moment. But yes. And as you can see, it is not a pixel-perfect representation of South Africa. You can see a couple parts are not the right shape or size. However, I feel like, for what it is, it was a successful Will It Blend. And yes.